Hi, I'm Kyle, host of Delayed Input, and I have a feeling you're about to watch some other video. This week I watched Nintendo's most recent Indie World Showcase. They've done 6 or 7 of these so far. It's a semi-regular thing. The vibes are weird. This is their logo. This is one step away from one Saturday morning. It gives you the impression you're about to watch a semi-educational children's show. But usually the games that they show off are exclusively for weird adults who have record players. But the announcers still think they're on the Disney Channel. The announcers don't know who their audience is. They cannot communicate without puns. They cannot do it. They cannot speak 2 sentences without a pun in one of them. You should probably know, full disclosure, I personally hate puns. I hate them. I can accept wordplay sparingly, occasionally. That can be fun. But puns and over-reliance on puns hurts me. Here's how the announcers present Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon.
I can't wait to dig into all those games.
Speaking of digging, let's continue with the show.
Okay, and then after that trailer...
Now here's a twist on Shovel Knight that you're really going to dig.
They don't even know. I don't think they even know. I don't think the person even scripting this had any idea that they used back-to-back the same soft pun. You know, I just think it's automated. I think that's just how you type. That's just how you communicate. By the way, there is a game in development just called Shovel Knight Dig. Guess what pun these Nintendo pun freaks can't wait to use? Anyway. Forgive me for introducing this segment this way. These Indie World Showcases are actually great things. They're actually good. Despite how I introduced it, they're great things. They're actually more entertaining to watch than like EA Play Live was. One thing that hit me as I was watching this is the pattern that these go through. First, yes, the pun-laden introduction from the announcers. Then, usually a trailer of the game, occasionally an introduction of the developers themselves, and then gameplay clips, albeit, yes, the announcers are also talking over these with more puns, and then sometimes a release date, sometimes not. But I think that's effective. As much as I hate how I'm being spoken to, I think it works. I think by the end of each game's presentation, I get it. Right? There are hundreds of indie games coming out every year, maybe every month at this point, maybe every week at this point. Anyway, it's hard to keep track of 12 indie games, right? But I feel like after you've been into one of these Indie World showcases, I feel like you could ask me, you're like, hey man, are you checking out Tome? I'd be like, hold on. What's Tome? And you'd be like, oh, it's that black and white photography game that was in the Indie World Showcase. And I'd be like, hold on. Oh yeah, I can't wait I'm into that. But that got me thinking, this presentational style, it actually got me thinking about the opposite. CG trailers. And as I was writing about CG trailers, actually, if we could take an aside for a second, I realized that, at least for the sake of delayed input, I don't want to use the phrase CG trailer for this discussion, because the thing is, it doesn't really work anymore. They're all computer generated, right? And so if you try to even say like pre-rendered trailers, if you're like, there's this kind of pre-rendered trailer that I can't stand, then someone's like, well, no, that was actually in-engine. Starfield was in-engine. That was what the game will look like, so not pre-rendered. And yeah, that's fine and true. And so, for the sake of delayed input anyway, I would like to introduce the phrase concept trailer. Basically, the idea of a trailer that is selling a video game's concept without ever showing the video game itself. Because that Starfield trailer is a concept trailer. They didn't show shit. Later on, we learned through interviews, Starfield is Skyrim in space. Where's Skyrim? Where is that? You're just showing me the lunchroom. This is nothing. And I want to point out Starfield in particular because that was Microsoft's biggest E3 reveal. And they just keep doing this. Historically, Microsoft's been bad about this. They've misrepresented games. They've revealed games through concept trailers that never come out. And then, in the last 13 months, we get Fable, Perfect Dark, Redfall, Contraband, Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, and Starfield. They are particularly bad about this. They do it more than anyone and exhaustively so. And I guess what you would think is, what the rationale would be is, look man, you gotta announce the game sometime. You can't wait until it's almost done because then it leaks, right? And I would say that this doesn't have to be the way. I had to look up Contraband. Did you remember Contraband? Did you remember this presumably expensive concept trailer? It seems unnecessary to me at this point. It seems old. It seems like something you don't have to do anymore. You don't have to spend that money. This might be an unfair comparison because they can get away with anything. But I feel like Marvel has solved it. Marvel announces stuff way ahead of time. Way before necessary, really. But all they give you is a logo and a hook, and then the people generate the hype from there. No trailer 3 years ahead of time necessary. And the title can be ridiculous. They somehow always are. It's like Baby Hulk and Bludge Dog. Zsa Zsa Zavnia, Nethervars. And people are still like, bro, I cannot, bro, it is going to be, I cannot, bro, it will be. But this is not a video saying concept trailers are all bad, they all gotta go. They're all stupid. They're not. They have uses. They're fun. They can be fun. I think the best maybe recent example that I can think of a good concept trailer, the best one in my mind, is the No More Heroes 3 reveal trailer. This was wild. This came out of nowhere. You had no idea what this is. It's telling an interesting story that does grab you, and then the title reveal at the end is an actual surprise. You had no idea. None of us had any idea. And then actually, it was cheap, but seconds of gameplay. There it is. The game is real.
2020 release? Good luck.
I like that a lot. It left an impact. It left an impression, actually. And it sold the concept of the game, I think, better than just showing off No More Heroes gameplay would have, quite frankly. I think another example of something working recently is Battlefield 2042. On June 9th, there was this reveal trailer. Don't call it pre-rendered. Don't call it CG. This is game engine footage. Anyway, it's cinematic, right? It's a concept trailer. You see the sequence where a guy launches an ATV at a helicopter, and it's like, okay. Cool stunt. Then, just 4 days later, the official gameplay reveal trailer, in which a guy launches an ATV at a helicopter, and it's awesome. I like this trailer a lot more than the reveal trailer. Guess which one has twice as many views? Yeah, it's the first one. It's the concept trailer. So yeah, a more cinematic trailer still works. It still gets more attention, truthfully. But I will say that I appreciate at least that the nearly identical but inside of the game gameplay trailer was not far behind. I think it's interesting to bring up Nintendo, who, current day Nintendo, almost never does concept trailers, right? Whenever they're introducing a game, it will normally be in the style of this Indie World Showcase. Here's the game, here's what it is. But there is someone who does tend to make some concept trailers. There is someone who does tend to find some room in the budget for top-notch CG animation that is never featured in the game itself. Masahiro Sakurai. Every time a new Smash Ultimate character has been announced, there's been a concept trailer, right? Humorous, flashy, exhilarating, life-giving, sure. But then, immediately followed by that character in the actual video game. Boop, sapoop. And that happens every time. It works every time. Regularly the best video game trailers you could ever ask for. And here's what's interesting. In his video for introducing Mythra and Pyra to Smash Bros. Ultimate, Masahiro Sakurai admitted that, up until that point, he personally had scripted every Smash Bros. Trailer since the Wii U ones. He just dropped that on us. He writes them all. It's undeniable at this point. Sakurai's just great at this shit. He's great at this shit. He's better at making trailers than most people who make trailers. But forgive me for gushing once more. My main point in this video is that concept trailers can work. That we've seen them work. You know, they work best if you know what the thing is already. You know, they don't have to sell you on a completely new concept. You already know what this is. We've seen it work just recently with Dead Space. It worked. You know, it got people excited with Battlefield. And if you're gonna be nitpicky, even the Smash Bros. Ultimate reveal trailer had no gameplay attached. But I mean, look how iconic this is striking. But generally, I think if you're a new idea, a new concept, new IP, you can't get away with a concept trailer anymore. Those aren't exciting anymore. This didn't break the internet. What I'm saying is, hey, you can do your fancy concept trailer if you insist, but it's always going to work better. It will leave a greater impression. You will get more attention and more enthusiasm if you attach your actual video game to that concept. I believe. That is delayed input for this week. I'll be back here next Thursday, and I hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. So I don't typically buy Lego sets. I don't like having, like, once it's done, it just takes up space, you know? But I did recently buy a Lego set that I thought's kind of special. It's this. It is Thor and Korg and the purple guy I forgot about, honestly, from Avengers Endgame. In the movie, this scene is played for laughs. It's like, look how pathetic Thor is. He's gained weight. He's eating pizza. He's playing Fortnite. Isn't it sad what happened to Thor? I think it is fascinating they made a Lego set out of this, because every other Marvel Lego set has a hero and a villain, people who will fight. Presumably. They don't have to fight. You get to decide. This is just a bunch of friends hanging out playing video games. I fucking love this. They're playing a cross between Fortnite and some Lego game. You can tell because of the score. Somebody called somebody a noob. I'm not sure what that's about. The internet called him Fat Thor, but I think it's cool. On the box, he's just called Bro Thor. And I frankly wonder if it's like COVID era just getting to me. But to just have this diorama of freaky space friends giving their time to each other to play a video game. Right? Thor's not even playing. He's just watching with a smile on his face. It is just the sweetest thing in the world to me right now. Super bonus. If you lift the couch out, there's a cookie under the couch.